Over 30 years ago, Mr. Jim Rohn shared a sentence with me that immediately made me more productive and dramatically improved my relationships. And that sentence was this: wherever you are, be there. And in this video, I want to share with you the 3 areas of your life where you can be more there, where you can be more present, and as a result, dramatically improve your relationships and your productivity. G'day, my name's Willem, and on this channel I share the wisdom and philosophies that Jim Rohn shared with me over 30 years ago. Mr. Rohn said, if you want more, you must become more. And that's what this channel is all about, becoming more. By applying Mr. Rohn's philosophies and wisdom in my personal and in my business life, I have been able to live a life on my terms. And I truly wish the same for you. Steve Jobs famously said, people think focus means saying yes to the thing you've got to focus on, but that's not what it means at all. What it means is saying no to the 100 other good ideas that there are. And I think that's what being there is all about. It's focusing down on the one thing you're there for and cutting out all other distractions. And I find that is one of the major hassles, or one of the major issues why people often feel unproductive. It's because they're not focused, they're not cutting out all the distractions. Now, to cut out distractions, you need to say no, and you need to say no a lot. I want to share with you a couple of experiences that I've had and the benefits that have accrued as a result of me saying no to other things and being totally there. And the very first area I want to talk about is your personal relationships. Now, Mr. Rohn himself confessed that he struggled in this area of his life. He used to say that when he was at the office, he used to think about being at the beach with his family. And when he was at the beach with his family, he was thinking about his work and being back at the office. So he struggled with it. So if he struggled with it, we can all struggle with it. And no doubt you know exactly what it is I'm talking about. Now, this week, I celebrated my 8th wedding anniversary with my wife, Jen. And Mr. Rohn's statement of being there had a lot to do with it. Let me explain. After my divorce over 10 years ago, I obviously was looking for a new partner. And one of the areas you look, of course, is online. Now, back in those days, there was no Tinder, there was no swiping left or right. There were only a couple of online websites that really did online dating. One of them was RSVP, and so I joined. And through RSVP, I actually met Jennifer, and as a result, we got married. But there's some interesting stories leading up to it, because as you know, when you're dating and when you're meeting for coffee, that's how you initially get to know someone. You really can't do it by email or by SMS. You've actually got to go and meet them, have coffee with them, get to know them. Now, this is where Mr. Rohn's statement really came in handy for me, because I decided that whenever I was going to meet someone, I was going to be fully there. So I would turn my phone on silent, and I recall often my phone was vibrating on the table if I was having coffee with someone, and they would say, oh, shouldn't you get that? And I go, well, no, I'm having coffee with you. If it's important, they'll leave me a message. And so I was there. I wanted to be present in the moment. And the second way I was there is I promised myself I would take a genuine interest in whoever it was that I was meeting. And so I used to ask a lot of questions. You know, you always ask, what do you do for a living? Or, you know, what's your profession? Why do you enjoy that? If you weren't doing that, what else would you do? What would you like to be doing in 5 years' time? Jen still has a go at me on this one, because it's one of my favorite questions when I'll meet someone. What would you like to be doing in 5 years' time? I used to ask a lot of questions, and people love talking about themselves. If there's one rule that I've learned in sales, it's this: God gave us 2 ears, 1 mouth, make sure you use them in that proportion. And so I suppose I just took my sales skill on my dating appointments, and it was interesting what people would say. Then on more than one occasion, I had the lady that I was meeting would say something like, hang on a minute, Willem, we've been here 40 minutes. You know everything about me, but I know nothing about you. Now, that's probably a compliment, because a lot of the people I met used to have one major criticism of the guys they'd meet online or at coffee shops, and that was they would only ever talk about themselves. So if you are single out there and you're wanting a really good tip, this is a bonus tip, don't talk about yourself. Be genuinely interested in the person you're meeting with. That's not only in dating and in personal relationships, it's also in business. The thing that people love to talk about most of all is themselves. And so if you sit there and you ask, really open questions, what, where, when, how, and you become genuinely interested in people, all of a sudden they become genuinely interested in you. So that's the first area that I would recommend you use Mr. Rohn's statement of being there, and that's in your personal relationships. So your personal relationships is probably where you can really apply Mr. Rohn's statement best of all. Be there. Whenever you're with your spouse, be there. When you're with your children, be there. I walk every day. I walk past so many playgrounds and I hear kids saying, look mum, or look dad, and guess what mum and dad are doing? Yeah, that's right. They're looking in their phones. So wherever you are, be there. It's not hard, just turn the phone off. It's not the rest of your life. Spend some time one-on-one with the person you're with, the children you're with, the friends you're with. Take a genuine interest. Get to know them better. If you want to know what are the good questions to ask people to get them to really speak about themselves and tell more about themselves, open up to you. Maybe you're dating, or maybe you just want to get better in sales. I've actually created a PDF with the 200 best questions to ask people to get them to talk about themselves. If you're interested in that, all you need to do is click on the link below and that'll take you to the PDF, and you can take those 200 questions and really get to know people exceptionally well. Okay, so let's go to the next area where Mr. Rohn's statement applies. And that's obviously in your professional work, in your workplace, or in your business. Distractions are everywhere, especially in our always-on technologies in the workplace. In his book, David Rock discusses this in more detail. One study found that distractions eat up at least 2.1 hours a day out of the average employee's workday. Furthermore, another study found that people become distracted after working only 11 minutes on a project. And worst of all, once people are distracted, it takes them a further 11 minutes to get back to the project, if they ever get back to it at all. People were also found to switch what they do every 3 minutes, whether they're working on a document, taking a phone call, or talking to somebody in their cubicle. But worst of all, distractions are exhausting. We only have a limited supply of our ability to focus. So by getting distracted, we're actually depleting our focus tank. There's less glucose in the system for the brain to concentrate with, and so our productivity goes further down the more we get distracted. And the less energy you have, the less ability you have to understand, to memorize, to recall. In other words, you simply just get more unproductive as the day goes on. Now, in another video, I actually discussed how to get back in control of your time. Now, that's hard if you're working in an open plan office. I'm pretty fortunate here. This is my office. And if I want to work or study on something or focus on something, shoot a video, I actually close the door and I put a sign out the front saying do not enter, and I'll be back at a certain time. However, if you work in an open office, that can be incredibly difficult. However, I have come up with 7 tips on how to get more done in an open plan office. If you're interested in that, there's a link below that I'll put in the description and you can download that PDF. Now, let's look at the third area where I apply Mr. Rohn's philosophy of wherever you are, be there. But before I do, if you find this video useful or you find it educational, could you like it? And maybe even consider subscribing. Okay, let's have a look at the last area where I apply Mr. Rohn's philosophy, and that's in my leisure time. I cannot understand when people go to a concert that they feel they've got to video that concert. Why not simply just be there and enjoy the concert? Why do you need to video it? I'm a pretty calm, collected sort of guy. Nothing too much phases me. But if you want to see me lose my shiitake, take your phone out in the middle of a cinema when I'm trying to watch a movie. Why do people need to do that? You're at the movies, you're there with your wife or a partner or a friend. Just enjoy the movie. Why do you need to pull your phone out? So be there. If you're at the concert, be at the concert. If you're at the movies, be at the movies. If you're at the restaurant with a partner, with friends, be at the restaurant. Give those people your full attention. I promise you, you will see the benefits. Really what you're saying when you're picking up a phone and you're in a cafe with someone or at a restaurant, you're really saying, well, my time on the phone is far more important than my time with you. And that's really insulting to someone that's taken time out of their lives to spend time with you. So I would ask you, in your personal lives, in your professional lives, and in your leisure time when you're getting away from everything, be there. At the beginning of this video, I promised you a bonus tip, and here it is. This is an hourglass, and I have this here on my desk. And if I want to work on something, for instance, scripting a video or writing an important email, this comes out and it's 1 hour and it goes upside down. And I promise myself not to move from what I'm doing until all the sand goes from the top to the bottom. The phone goes off, the email goes off, there are no interruptions, the door's closed, and the sand falls through the hourglass for an hour. And I promise myself not to move out of my seat until all that sand is in the bottom. And it works. I just find it works. I'm disciplined enough to do it. But here's what's interesting, and I've found this many times now. If I'm working on a subject, for instance, like scripting a video, and I turn this upside down, often I'll be there for 2 hours, close to 2.5 hours sometimes. The sand's well and truly gone, but by now, I'm so much in a state of flow with what I'm doing that I don't need anything to tell me to stay there anymore. I'm so involved, so engrossed in what I'm doing that I'm really enjoying it, and I no longer need this. But this is a great tool. This is a great way to get started. This gives you momentum to actually get focused in the first place. So there you have the one sentence that Mr. Rohn told me that really left an indelible impression and has remained with me ever since. Wherever you are, be there. Now, if you enjoyed this video, I know you would enjoy the video I did on the 2 words that Mr. Rohn shared with me that dramatically improved my productivity. That video is up there. Thank you for watching this one. Now go out and be there. I promise you will thank me later.